Okay guys, so I thought I would do another tarantula video. I'm going back over a very old video, one of the first videos I did, which is tarantula housing, because I've had one user who's been asking a lot of questions and stuff, and I just thought, as well as answering the questions, it would help if I actually showed a video of exactly what I was doing and how I did things and stuff. So yeah, here goes, tarantula housing. Okay, so there are a number of different things that I use to house tarantulas in. For sort of small and medium-sized tarantulas, terrestrials and arboreals, I tend to use two different things at the moment. These are very cost-effective, just Tupperware boxes basically, these snapshot ones. As you can see, this is my Grammostola pulchra in there, and this girl's been in here for ages, you know, and these are really good. They're cheap, they hold the moisture in really well, it's easy to burn holes into the side for ventilation, and they stack really nicely. As you can see there, they stack really well. Grammostola pulchra goes on top there, and that works really well. And you know, this will do her until maybe another 2 molts, depending on how fast she grows. And you know, you can't really complain. They're easy to they're easy to clean. So when she outgrows this, I can take all the substrate out and everything and clean it, and that'll be ready to use again for another tarantula. The other thing I use frequently are the old cricket tubs. When I've finished with all the crickets, I put a bit of substrate in. Oh, I can't take this off because I don't have a fast. But yeah, in here you can see, I don't know if you can see, yeah, that's my Nandu Chromata sling, and it'll be fine in there for ages. I mean, I've had my, let's have a look here, I've had my Brachypelma Smithy in this tub for ages, and it's still fine for a little while in there. And these are really good. They've got plenty of ventilation down the side, easy to clean. Again, they stack really well. You can seal up the ventilation with sellotape, which is what I do for my arboreals, so they hold up humidity a bit better. And all I do here is I put substrate in the bottom, put a bit of cork bark, and then yeah, bish bash bosh, you're done. Bit of sphagnum moss to help out the humidity. And these things work really well. In these two here on the left, you can't see it. Let me see if the one behind is visible. No. Well, in these two I've got Avicularia purpurea slings, and they are tiny at the moment, absolutely tiny, but they're doing really well in these pots. And you can see here Avicularia urticans getting a bit bigger, but again, fine. She'll be fine there for another 2 or 3 molts, I reckon, depending on, again, how quickly she grows. So, you know, these things work really well, and you can stack them really neatly in front of each other like that. You know, they are excellent for spiderling containers, and they're cheap. You know, you just recycle them, or go to one of your reptile stores and see if they've got any going for free. You know, because they must have loads spare, so they work really well. If you've got even small spiderlings, I would recommend using a film sort of pot. And you can pick them up from, I picked up a sack full from Jessop's that they would just throw away, so they work really well. The other thing I use, again, this is basically the same, but it's just the arboreal version of the Grammostola pulchra snapshot Tupperware. And in here is my Avicularia amazonica. For people that have been following my channel for a while, you'll have seen it in various containers. Sorry about that. And you can see it's doing absolutely fine here. I do need to rehouse it soon, or at least I want to, because this is getting a bit big for it. But that's fine. You know, these things work really well. And again, same goes for this one with the other one. Easy to clean, keeping humidity really well. You know, you just can't complain. If you're working to a budget, then these things work very well, very well. Okay. And let me just put these lids back on, and then we'll move on to the next couple that I want to show. Boom. Let's put this one back on. Next one, this is an old fish tank. I actually got this with an old Avicularia Versicolor that I bought about 2 years ago now. 2 years ago, something like that. And this thing, again, you know, it's just very, very good for the job. The lid's a bit annoying because you can't stack anything on top of it, but plenty of air holes, absolutely fine. Let's open it up. And if you wanted to make that a bit more secure so it doesn't come off very easy, you could just put some Velcro on the inside and some Velcro on the side here, and that's done. In here you can see I've got my GBB, Chromatopalma Cyanopubescens, and she's been in here for ages. You know, no problems whatsoever. She likes it fairly dry, so that's fine. And, you know, she'll be fine in here probably. To be honest, she'll be fine here even when she's an adult. I probably would like to breed her, or attempt to, so I'd get a larger enclosure for her. But I reckon she'd probably be okay in here as an adult. Maybe a little bit small, but you know, if you are sort of a bit push for space or money, then you know this would do. I'll probably rehouse it to something slightly larger. But these things are very, very good. They're holding the humidity really well. They don't leak obviously because it's a fish tank, so it's got to sort of keep the water in well. But I can't complain, to be honest. I picked this up for about 30 quid from a local reptile store in Chester. Well, it's not local anymore because I've moved, but yeah, you can pick these up really, really cheap. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. Okay, this is one I made myself, and I want to make quite a few more of these, but I need to save up the money. But this is just basically half foot by I think it was a half foot by what was it? Yeah, 6 inches by 12 inches I think it was. But this has my P Metallica in, as you can see. There she is, looking stunning as always. But really easy to make. Took about 2 days to make to allow for the silicone to dry. It's the first one I've made, so there are a few errors, but that I can easily sort out. It doesn't necessarily look the best with these little things here and stuff, and I could sort those out to make them a bit tidier and whatever. You know, you can buy these similar sort of things off of some online companies, but to be honest, the amount you pay to buy these, you can make them yourself so much cheaper. This cost me, if you were to buy the equipment in bulk, so you're saving on postage and packaging, this individual enclosure probably cost me about a tenner. And you would probably pay about 30 quid to buy that online off of a company. So you know, if you can be bothered to make it yourself, then you may as well. You know, you can save yourself a heap of money, and you know, they look just as good. I think one thing I'll change is I think I put a bit too much ventilation. Like you can see, I've got 4 holes on the top there, and then I've got 8 on either side. So I think that's probably a bit too much because it dries out pretty quick. I have to keep spraying it a lot. But when I make more tanks, I shall probably replace this tank. I probably won't use it again when I can afford to actually replace it, because there are a few things I'm really unhappy with. But generally, you know, it does the job well, and like I said, you can make them very easily. Okay, so let's look at some of the ones I use for adults. This is a custom Aquaria tank, and this is, to be honest, probably the best tank I've got, the one I'm happiest with. I would recommend people buying from Custom Aquaria. They're pretty reasonably priced. This cost me under £20 at the BTS show 2 years ago. It's a massive tank. It's got ventilation at the side, which is nice. This holds my Avicularia Versicolor. For those of you that have watched my breeding videos, you will know. You can see there she is. It's a bit dark, I apologise for that. But with the glass lid, it's nice and heavy. No worries about that coming off at all. You know, really, really happy with this tank. There's plenty of space, so you can have a lot of substrate but still keep a lot of height for the actual tarantula. Plenty of space to put live plants in. I did have a live plant but it died because I don't think it was getting enough light. When I can, I'll keep all my tarantulas in a separate room and hopefully they'll get a little bit more light. But yeah, they work really, really well. And then this is another one that I've got. This one I've had all manner of problems with, to be honest. It's been a bit of a headache, this tank. It was originally a terrestrial tank. It was the first tank I got when I first started collecting spiders, and it was sold to me as like a beginner's tank or whatever. And to be honest, I wouldn't recommend anyone buying one of these tanks. They're not very good. You can see I basically covered up this front pane with some perspex I had left over from when I was making the tank, but underneath here it's wire mesh. There's far too much ventilation, hence having to put this in front of here. I was having so many problems with it just drying. I'd literally soak the tank and it would be completely bone dry by the evening. So I've just had to sort of cover that up. And with terrestrials, I've had an old G-Resair that used to climb up the slide, and it'd get its claws on its feet stuck on the mesh. Just, I wouldn't recommend people buying one of these sorts of tanks. If you do, then definitely sort out the ventilation problem. One thing I also did, I stuck some plastic on the bottom of the inside of the bottom here, you can see, so that I could put substrate in there and make it an arboreal tank. You can also see I've got a thermometer and hygrometer in there, just because I want to just keep an eye on how well that bit of plastic holds in the humidity. And I'm really happy with it actually. It's 91% humid in there, because this holds my Pyrogallus female that I'm hoping will give me another egg sac. I rehoused her into here. You're not going to be able to see her very easily. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't recommend anyone buying one of these tanks, but if they do have one, definitely sort out the ventilation issue. And lastly, you could use an Exoterra. This actually has my crested gecko in. I wouldn't really recommend these for tarantulas because they are very expensive, and they've got a lot of ventilation, and to be honest, it's just a bit of overkill really. They are good for the job, open the doors, you know, you can't complain. They are good, but I just think it's a bit of overkill. I think it's a bit unnecessary for a tarantula. But you know, if you like it and you're willing to spend the money, then go for it. I'm sure you'll be happy. But definitely put live plants in to help with the humidity. I think that's everything covered really. As far as substrate is concerned, I buy the Eco Earth blocks. It's definitely the best. You don't have to worry about parasites or anything like that. I have bought soil, like compost soil, Irish peat moss, and I had problems with little flies buzzing around. Plants, if I use live plants, I use pothos ivy, which you can see in here. Let's open this up and I'll show you. Pothos ivy there. And this you can generally pick up from B&Q, but you have to sort of keep your eyes open because they don't always sell it. For water bowls, I generally use something like that, to be honest. But you can just use any sort of plastic pot. And then bits of bark, you can pick up bark from your local woods, but make sure you bake the bark or boil it or something to kill any parasites off. That is paramount, because you don't know what you could be introducing to your spiders. What else? I think that's it. One other thing, I use sphagnum moss to help you with humidity, and lastly, something that I find beneficial for tarantulas that need high humidity is to get some captive bred woodlice and put them in, and they help keep the can't think what I'm trying to say. They help keep the detritus eaten and keep parasites low. Anyway, that's everything. Cheers, guys.